Oh yeah, good old coffee. And I'd advise you to put this on pause and go get some, because we're going deep on this. All right, guys, welcome back to Survival Living here. So every time I ever show precious metals, gold or silver, I get the misquotes from the Bible from a lot of viewers. And I usually stay away from politics as much as possible, and also religion here on the channel, because everybody has their own set of beliefs on their life, and that's fine by me. You do you, I'll do me. But since I am educated in this topic, we'll go ahead and talk about it. One, I've talked about it in the past, and I'll bring it up again. I was actually raised in the church from a young age. I was actually sent and put through a Bible college course because everybody said I was going to be a preacher. I didn't get the memo from the big man upstairs. I did later become an ordained minister only because I operate a paranormal channel. Okay, I have a secondary channel. My wife and I, we do paranormal research because our world is full of a lot of questionable things. So I got my ordained minister license through that. That way I could open up new doors when I'm doing investigation. But with all that being said, I want to just look right at the facts of things when I see the misquotes every time I talk about precious metals as a prep. Now, there's always two quotes that people like to throw out. One is from Ezekiel and the other from Revelations. So let me go ahead and pull up my information here, because I do not like misquoting scripture. This is why you should always have a Bible on hand or the text, that way you can actually read it directly off. But I will be putting up a screenshot here for you guys so you guys can take a look at it. All right, guys, so there should be a pop-up here for you. This is Ezekiel 7:19. Every time I start speaking about using precious metals as a secondary source or transfer of wealth and preparedness because of hyperinflation, economy crash, this is what I see. Ezekiel 7:19. They will throw their gold into the streets, and their gold will be treated as things unclean. That's usually all they ever put. All right, but let's keep on reading, because you're supposed to read the whole passage and also the verses before and after to put everything in context. People use religion to push their own agendas all the time without actually putting things in context. And what we're going to do here today is put it all in context for you. The silver and gold will not be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. It will not satisfy their hunger or fill their stomachs, for it has caused them to stumble into sin. Now, this is the New International Version. I have a list here of, let me go and pop those up for you as well. Multiple different versions, so you can kind of understand the wordage and things of that nature. Let's go to the New King James. That's usually what I use. They will throw their silver into the streets, and their gold will be like refuse. Their silver and their gold will not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They will not satisfy their souls nor fill their stomachs, because it became their stumbling block of iniquity. What people won't tell you, and might be their own agenda, or they just don't understand that you need to be researching things, even in the Bible. In other words, you don't just take a quote or phrase and run with it, one scripture. You have to research above and below the whole thing and cross-reference with other books. This here, guys, is dealing with the turning away from God by the Israelites. There's actual reference of this as that they believe it was actually because they used gold and silver for idol worshiping. We're making reference to, and actually speaking of, when the Israelites made their graven images and things of that nature and worshiped that and turned from God. That's what they were talking about. God was bringing the wrath upon them from turning against them. And that's what the reference they were using for gold and silver. Never said anything about gold and silver being worthless. All right. End times. Let's talk about Revelation, because that's another good one. Should be another pop-up there for you. Revelation 13:17. That no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark and the name of the beast, or the number of his name. This is during the mark of the beast. In other words, in my belief, and I could be wrong on this, in my belief, there will be a willful act. You will willfully denounce God. You will willfully do this knowing what you're doing. There is no tricks involved. A lot of people are saying that about the arm jab. Oh, they're trying to trick you into the mark. No, it's a willful, big, screw you is what it's going to be. You'll know exactly what you're doing. Ain't going to be no little tricks to, bamboozle anybody. But this is talking about buy or sell. Yes, during that time, this is worthless. Everything is worthless as far as commerce, because the only way you can actually buy and sell is taking the mark. All right? When it comes down to that, and if I'm still around, sign me up for the guillotine. I ain't giving up. The fact is, though, I already know it's already been written. I never said anywhere that I had to sit there and fight and survive, because the fact is, it says there is no survival. There is no getting away from this when it happens. When is it going to happen? Nobody knows. Clearly states, no man knows the hour. No man knows the day. They don't. So when I see this here on YouTube, people like to type away. You need to educate yourself. I'm not calling anybody any names, but you need to be educating yourself and not just running half-ass with information. One of the biggest things I do not like is when people misquote and take out of context scripture. Like I said, I'm not a big Christian channel or anything like that doing God's work with speaking and stuff like that, guys, because that's not me. It was not my calling. But I grew up in the hypocrisy of the church. Man-made religion. Your one-on-one walk with God is your one-on-one walk with God. We do not have the full Bible, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. We're finding out more and more information that the Catholic Church has so many more books on the Bible that is locked away. They've used religion throughout our history of mankind to control people. But when you start taking scripture and manipulate around for your own agenda, I grew up with people like that. The churches I was in. Luckily, I'm an analytical thinker. I research everything I can. When I question these individuals, and I do mean preachers, deacons, the response I got, you just have to take it on faith, brother. No, not when you're misquoting. You don't take nothing on faith. You take God's will, love, and power on faith. But the word is supposed to be written out for you to look at, understand, and follow. I should also mention, back in the day, a lot of those deacons, found them in the bars, and they were not with their wives. Anytime man puts their hand on something, it can be manipulated, and it is manipulated. They have their own agendas. That's just the way it is. So I want to hit on this. The reason why, ladies and gentlemen, there should be a big pop-up right there for you. This is Venezuela. This is why I talk about this as a prepper. Look at the price tags. You see grams, little G there, $, another G. When I say precious metals has its place in prepping, when Venezuela hyperinflation happened, their dollars were worthless. It took trash bags full of dollar bills, Bolivar or whatever it was their currency name is, to purchase items. All right. Should be an article that's going to be linked in the description for you guys. I did a community post of this last night while I was at work. I was on my break. This information here, I'm showing you this because gold and silver was being used. Just because the economy collapsed, it does not mean it's revelation. It does not mean it's Armageddon. God has come back and is now smiting the old whatever. Countries crumble. Economies fail. They have for many, many times. Do I believe God is eventually going to come back? Yeah, absolutely. Don't know when. I prepare for what I can prepare for. And this is just another prepared thing that we can do. Gram size. Yeah. Right there in the store, you can see the food. I mean, that's sausage. Big old long links of sausage. They got the price there. In the article, they're actually talking to a hotel owner that was actually accepting flakes of gold. When I say flakes of gold, they were shaving it down. It was about $5 worth per gold. Anyway, they were doing gram sizes for hotels. 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce. I mean, 1/8 gram, 1/4 gram. Breaking it down. And that's what they were paying their employees with, and they were also renting out their hotels during this time. So just because the U.S. dollar collapsed does not mean the U.S. is going to just Mad Max everywhere. Will crime continue? Yeah. Will crime ramp up? Absolutely. Of course it will. But I'm saying it's not going to be the whole destruction of the whole country. I don't know why people are even here prepping. Because the slightest thing that I say that makes them uncomfortable or burst their little bubble, their preparedness plan, and I come up with some other things. Why? Because I'm the guy that's actually doing. I'm the YouTuber that's actually living it, showing you everything we do. I wanted to separate myself from half the talking heads on YouTube, because most of them, I know plenty of them, don't know their head from their ass. I hate to say that. I'm not going to call out channels, but I know a lot of people personally. They're not living as you are living. They're not living as I am living. They'll read an article, throw a couple things on a shelf, and now they're going to talk to you about how you need to be doing this because, well, they are too. But that's the only shit they've got. And odds are it came from an affiliate too. Now, is that one of my affiliates? Yes, it is. But I showed many times where we go and purchase more. We do our weekly prep stuff. We show you, we go to the store, we put the stuff in normal rotational stock. We're showing you where we pull together with community to work in hurricane disaster, work with our local missions, not even just financially in dropping off supplies, but man hours. Actually going out there during Christmas, just when they had the cold weather advisory down here in Florida. I mean, it was so freaking cold. People did not have a place to go. They needed people manning the stations there to keep these people safe so they could all get some sleep somewhere warm. That's what we do. Am I a saint? No, hell no. No, I'm not. I know what is right, and I try to do what's right. Do I fall short a lot? Of course I do. Well, when I see the misquotes, the intentional or unintentional manipulation of the Bible to push their own agendas or their own closed-mindedness, I'll call it out. I'll call it out on the street too. I got family members that I don't know what goes on in their head. They'll read something in the Bible, and the next thing you know, they're talking about they're supposed to be ministering naked because it was in the Bible. And I'm like, where in the world did you read that? There's another big thing that I have seen, not just in the prepping community, but in general in society. A lot of people that misfire in their heads will either grab onto religion, and I mean they go overboard and gets it all manipulated, or they go to drugs and alcohol and gets all twisted around and it takes over their life too. There's a lot of mental disorder here in this country, actually in the world, but here in America there is a lot. And unfortunately, since social media, internet availability has allowed people the opportunity to film themselves and speak their truth, what they believe is true. Unfortunately, a lot of people get manipulated around and get fed a line of crap. Anyway, guys, just my PSA for today. Speak to y'all later.